everyone, and welcome to the Time to Cook Club Advanced and to your online class. So today we're going to be making Chelsea buns. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need to pop your butter into a small saucepan, and you need to pop the saucepan onto a low heat on the hob until it has melted. So join me back here once your butter has melted and we'll continue with our recipe together. Okay, welcome back guys. So hopefully by now you have melted your butter in a saucepan on a low heat on the hob. You're going to carefully pour your butter into the milk that you've already measured out, hopefully. You can give that a stir and just leave it to one side. Now, in a large mixing bowl, you're going to add your bread flour. And you're also going to add in your caster sugar. You're going to add in a pinch of salt. And you're also going to add in the lemon zest. So the zest of the lemon is basically just the skin of the lemon. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a grater just to grate the zest. I've already washed and dried this lemon. And on the grater, I've got finer grates and then large grates. So I'm going to use the finer grates today. I'm going to hold the grater really firmly in one hand before stroking the lemon down. And if you've got a grater like mine, then you'll see the zest start to come out into the middle of the grater. And you're just going to continue until you have grated the zest of your large lemon. Don't forget to grate the top and the bottom of the lemon zest too. Grated the lemon zest, you're going to add it to your mixing bowl with the other ingredients. So if you've got a grater like mine, just try and pop a spoon into the grater and give it a wiggle, because sometimes the lemon zest or what you're grating gets stuck inside the grater. Okay. And you're also going to add in your dried yeast. So if you're using a sachet, then it is one whole sachet. So when you've done that, you can give your ingredients a good stir with a spoon. Try to keep the spoon down quite low in the bowl, as this will stop the mixture from coming out onto the table. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to crack our large egg into a small cup. Okay, just check that the egg looks okay and that you've not got any shell in there. And then you can pop a fork in and beat the egg, so that the yolk and the egg white all get mixed in together. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make like a little well in your mixture, so a little hole in the middle of your mixture. I don't know if you can see it without all the flour kind of falling back into the hole. But in that well, you're going to add the egg, and you're also going to add the milk and butter mixture that you made earlier. Going to add that in there into the well, and with a spoon you're just going to stir those ingredients together to combine them all. Okay, don't forget to use the spoon to scrape down the sides of your bowl, okay, to make sure that all of that mixture is mixed in really well. And you should find that the dough starts to come together, so you can use your hands to really help you to mix the ingredients together as well. So take the spoon out, and then you're just going to kind of squeeze the dough together, okay, to create a ball of dough. And if the dough is a little bit dry, then you can add in some more milk. Okay, once the dough has come together into a ball, you're going to dust some dusting flour onto your work surface, like so. And you're going to knead the dough for 5 minutes, okay? So when we knead the dough, we kind of push down on the dough and roll the heel of our hand over it. And we're going to knead the dough for 5 minutes, okay? So a really good tip is to pop on your favourite song and knead away to the beat of the music, okay? So join me back here in 5 minutes time and we can continue with our recipe together. Okay, welcome back guys. So while your dough is proving, we can crack on with the filling. So into a clean mixing bowl, you need to add in your sultanas, your cranberries and your apricots. So we're going to cut up the apricots to approximately the same size as the sultanas and the cranberries, okay? So the easiest way to do this is by using scissors. If you don't have any scissors that you can use, you can always chop them on a chopping board, okay? And we're just going to keep going until we have cut up all of our apricots and added them to our mixing bowl. We're also going to add in the light brown sugar. We're going to add in the 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Whenever we measure out any herbs or spices or flavourings, it's always a really good idea to do so over a separate bowl or cup, and that way if we add too much we're not spoiling the rest of our ingredients. So we're going for 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and then again we need to grate the zest of 1 lemon and 1 orange. Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same as we did before, and just stroke our lemon that we've washed down the grater, and we're using the fine side of the grate again. Okay, so just keep going until you have grated all of the lemon zest off of your lemon and also the zest from your orange. And we're going to add that into our mixing bowl. Okay, again, getting a spoon and just making sure that we've got all of that lovely orange and lemon zest out. Okay. And then with a spoon, we're just going to carefully stir all of those ingredients together. And this is going to be your filling for your Chelsea buns. Now what we need to do is we need to wait until your dough has been proving for 2 hours. So join me back here after 2 hours time, or when your dough has doubled in size, and we can continue with our recipe. Okay, welcome back guys. So hopefully by now your dough has proved for a couple of hours and is roughly double the size that it was when you popped it into the bowl. So now what you need to do is you need to sprinkle on some dusting flour to your work surface, and also pop some dusting flour onto your rolling pin, which will stop the dough from sticking to your work surface and to your rolling pin. You will need a ruler for the next bit as well, because we need to measure out how big we're rolling our dough. Okay, so we're going to pop our dough onto our work surface, and using a rolling pin, we're going to roll out a rectangular shape. We need it to be 34 by 43 centimetres. That's 13 inches by 17 inches. Okay, so we're going to roll out our rectangle, and we can use our ruler to just check our measurements. If you need to, you can add some more dusting flour as well. Okay. Just going to keep going until we have rolled out a rectangular shape to those measurements. Okay, welcome back. So hopefully you've rolled out your dough and to those measurements. So now you'll need your 50 grams of softened butter, and using a palette knife or even the back of the spoon, you're just going to spread the butter over the dough. You're going to leave a long edge clear, so you want a border on one of your long edges, and you can pop that at the top. Okay, so you're just going to spread the butter really carefully over the dough. Just avoid making any holes in the dough if you can, and like I say, just leave one of your long edges, leave a little border clear of any butter, because that's going to help you when you come to roll up your Chelsea buns. Okay, now what you'll need is your fruit mixture that you prepared earlier. So you're just going to kind of scatter that all over the top of your dough, leaving that edge clear again. And then with your fingers, you can just kind of scatter it over the dough, okay? Spreading them out evenly, okay, so that they're well distributed. And you can use your hands to kind of press them down, and hopefully the butter will help it all to stick together. So then what you've got to do is, with the long edge nearest to you, you need to dampen that down with some water. So I'm literally just popping some water onto my fingertips and just dampening that down like so. And then you're going to roll up the dough like a sausage roll basically. Okay, so we're going to roll it up to the clear edge with the border that we left earlier, okay? Try and roll it as tightly as you can. And then when you get to the clear edge, you're just going to pop it so that the fold line is on the bottom, and then you're just going to press it down tightly to secure it. And with a sharp knife, you're just going to trim the ends, okay? So now what you're going to do is you're going to cut the roll, this kind of Swiss roll that you've made, into 4 equal pieces. So I'm going to cut it in half first with my sharp knife before cutting the half into quarters. Probably the easiest way to do it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut each quarter into 3 equal pieces. So you can kind of score it out to start with if you don't want to, you know, make that commitment first. And you're just going to carry on until you've got 12 even pieces. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grease and line our baking tin. So I've just popped a little bit of butter on some non-stick baking paper, and I'm just going to grease the sides and the bottom of my tin. And this will act kind of like glue to hold the baking paper down. I've cut the baking paper to approximately the same size as my tin with a little bit extra, so that I can push it down to the edges, to cover the edges. And then I've snipped diagonal lines in, okay, which will just make it sit a lot neater. There we go. Now what you need to do is you need to pop your Chelsea buns in, cut side up in 4 rows of 3. You need to make sure that you leave about 1 centimetre, if you can, in between the Chelsea buns, as when the dough proves again and rises, then they'll kind of all grow and knit together, okay? And now what you need to do is you need to cover the dough with some tin foil or some cling film, and you need to leave the dough to prove again in a warm spot for 1 hour. While your dough is proving, then we can make our orange glaze. So join me back here in just a minute when you've found that warm spot, and we can continue with our recipe. Okay, welcome back guys. So whilst your dough is proving again for 1 hour, we're going to prepare our lemon drizzle to go over the top. Okay, so you'll need to chop a lemon in half, okay, and just check that you've got no pips in the lemon. If you have, you can just kind of take them out with a fork, that's fine. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pour in your icing sugar. Okay, now you want to pour it in carefully, not too fast, otherwise you're going to get a big puff of icing sugar and it's all going to go in your face. Okay, icing sugar is very light, and lots of times it makes kind of big clouds of sugar. All right, and then what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze the juice out of your lemon. So if you do half first and then give it a stir and see how the icing sugar is looking, and then we can always add more. Okay, so like I said, just double check that you've got those pips out, because it won't taste very nice if you find some lemon pips in your icing. And then what we're going to do, we're going to pop our fork in, we're just going to twist, okay, to release the juice. If you have a lemon juicer, you can of course use that instead, that's fine, okay. So like I say, when you've added the juice of 1/2 of a lemon, then you can give your icing a stir, okay. It's really important that we kind of don't add too much, otherwise the icing will be really, really runny. And if you don't add enough, then the icing will be too thick and it won't drizzle. Okay, so just keep stirring until you've kind of absorbed all of that icing sugar. And if your icing's a bit thick, then you might want to add a little bit more lemon juice. Approximately 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in total. As you can see, my icing's pretty thick, Okay, but it does drizzle. I found another lemon pip, so I'm just going to fish that out, the one that got away. So I think I might just add a tiny bit more lemon juice. Squeeze it a couple times. Okay, just to loosen it up so it drizzles more easily. Okay, that's perfect. It will have a really lovely lemony flavour to it. So join me back here in an hour's time and we can finish off our recipe. Okay, welcome back guys. So once your Chelsea buns have proved for another 1 hour in a warm spot, you're then going to preheat the oven to gas mark 4 or 180 degrees or 160 degrees if you're using a fan oven. Once the oven has heated up, you can then pop your Chelsea buns in for between 25 to 30 minutes until they're lovely and golden brown. You'll know when the buns are cooked because they'll be well risen and a lovely golden brown colour. So after the buns are cooked, then you can carefully take them out of the oven, leaving them in the tray. Let them cool down for a little bit before popping a splash of hot water into your apricot jam and stirring it around. The hot water will just help to loosen the jam a little bit. And then with a pastry brush, you're just going to paint the apricot jam onto the Chelsea buns all over the top to act as a lovely glaze. And then once the Chelsea buns have cooled down, okay, you can put some of the lemon icing on top of them, okay? Chelsea buns are best eaten on the day that they're made, so if you are going to want to freeze some of them, then don't add the icing, okay? Just freeze them as they are, and then you can always add the icing once you've thawed them out. But there we have our Chelsea buns with lemon icing, and I'm sure you'll agree they look absolutely amazing. So proud of these. So I hope you enjoyed joining me today to make your Chelsea buns, but more importantly, I hope you enjoy eating them and sharing them with your friends and your family. We'll be back again next week with another delicious bake from our Staycation in the UK menu. I can't wait to share it with you. Have a lovely rest of your week. See you soon. Bye.